Hello, everyone. This is Patrick from Ground to Dust again, continuing on my journey of writing a piece of music for my singer friend. Last time we wrote some chords for the new chorus section and pre-chorus section for the song. Since that time, I did send the demo as it is to the singer, and they liked it. They gave me some guidance about how the structure of the song could progress from there. And so today I will be working on that. But the first thing I want to do, as I said last time, was that I wasn't happy with how the drums were sounding, both in the recording aspect of the existing drums, but also that the drum parts in the new pre-chorus and chorus sections needed to be entirely different. What was there was always intended to be just a placeholder. So to start with today, I am going to re-export the drum track as separate layers for each of the drum instruments, drum samples. And then once I get those in there and replace what needs to be replaced, etc., then I can write some new drum parts for the new sections, and then see what happens after that. Okay, so the existing drums were all exported directly out of Reason and as one flat audio file, so all the samples playing together. And so my intention now is to do those separately first, but we may want to tweak some of the various effect settings on those before we do that, in case the compressing settings or things like that are part of the problem and we don't want to export those again without fixing this problem. So let's take a listen to the existing drums and see what we need to fix before we export. Okay, so right there's a click on the beginning of the kick drum. So that could be the compressor kicking in, or it could be the sample. Okay, yeah. Taking the compressor off gets rid of the click. And the click is only there when it's coming from silence. So rather than if there's a tail from the previous kick into the kick, it's not clicking because the compressor is staying open. Okay, so I will just first take the compressor off. What does it sound like without the tape distortion? Okay, so yeah, I will leave those off. Still a bit of a click there. That sounds fine with the kick, compressor, and tape distortion off. But then the drum channel with all the instruments is also going through another tape distortion and compressor, and those don't sound as good off fully. But turn the tape distortion part of the scream off while leaving the EQ on, and that sounds okay. Compressor still on, sounds okay. There was still a bit of a click. But that's fine. But the signal is a bit hot, and I can't. Is it distorting? Yeah, so let's just bring that down a little. Okay, so that will work. And I still have the old everything in case. Let me actually save this as a new file. Okay, so I bounced out new kick. Let's see what else is in here. I'm not crazy about the clicks that seem to be in the sample. Yeah, there's clicks in the sample, there's reverb in the sample. I'm not wild about that. So, you know what I will, but I'll probably just enable to just throw in an entirely new sample for the snare function. Maybe I'm thinking at this point maybe something a little more like an organic snare, but well, the the drum loop that plays over it is more organic. So maybe if this snare stays something very synthetic and you've got that nice balance of synthetic and organic. What's the last layer? That's the steam burst sound. Yeah. What's that running through? Anything? Oh, okay. That's going straight into the mixer. So that I think I will take exactly as it is. There are all the drum samples separately. I'll import them in. First thing first, save a new file version. Okay, so I loosely mixed those new drum elements in to replace the old drum track. So I will now delete the old drum track, but keep the MIDI around in case I need to use that later. Maybe keep the snare, maybe change it. I'll figure it out as I go. So what needs to happen during the chorus with the drums? So one thing that I do for the moment kind of like, maybe it'll change, is that we have this drum, this sort of heartbeat like kick drum that comes and then goes, it comes and goes. It's not steady, but I'm thinking I do want to keep probably the 4 and the floor kick drum in the pre-chorus or chorus. So my thought for the moment is that the pre-chorus could be your standard 2 and 4 snare part, type rhythm, and then maybe in the actual chorus we stick with the sort of halftime feel. What does that sound like? When I'm listening to the whole mix, the definition in the kick is sort of missing, so it seems more sort of just a hum more than real impacts. Let me try a transient shaper around that and see how that sounds. I'm also thinking that sort of bum 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 part of the kick maybe I don't want in the pre-chorus. Have the pre-chorus be pretty straight ahead driving, again, standard ounce, and then when it gets to the actual chorus, then we get that slightly more interesting kick with the halftime snare. Click like that. Oh, buddy. Okay, good. Clicks and loops just really drive me insane sometimes. So the singer did say that they thought going from verse 2 into the pre-chorus again instead of going straight to the chorus was, maybe a better way to go. So that's what we'll try out. So that's basic. That's starting point. Sure, what needs to happen now? So one thing I'm thinking is some sort of hi-hat, but no, that doesn't feel right. Okay, so we've reached the end of where I know what I needed to do and what I want to do, and now I'm just like making stuff up as I go, which is what most writing of music is. So thinking out loud here, I don't think the piano is really cutting through the mix, and it wasn't really meant to be there in the first place. It was just a writing tool, placeholder, place to get ideas out and reorchestrate them elsewhere. It does kind of still sound cool, so I'm thinking I might need to first build the other elements that would take the place of that piano, and then see whether then the piano is still needed, or if those other elements fully take over, or if they're all gonna live together. One thing I'm thinking is that the higher piano notes can be some sort of crystalline synth or glockenspiel or something like that. So the lower notes, the like bass chords, don't really need to be there. It's not the right sound, but it's the right direction. Okay, this is the wrong instrument. This is too metallic. I don't really like the metallic. I want Okay, so now my thinking is that that wouldn't take the place of the piano, but it might be the thing to come around the second time to make the second time more interesting than the first time. But I also want to add some sort of passing tones in there. So as I'm going along here, something I'm feeling is that the rhythm of the piano on being like half notes and whole notes and quarter notes works fine for that part, but this part needs a little offset to the rhythm, some spice as far as not just being on the downbeats all the time. So I'm trying to put in some passing tones and such to mix up the rhythm a bit. But I do want this to be more stereo ping pong delay background, sort of creating the space, and less forward centered. Less playing the melody and more supporting the melody around it. So that I think is going to be about, mixing and effects and such rather than the part. So the next thing I'm thinking of trying is again taking our sort of piano combined harmony, melody, everything, and this time sort of removing the more melodic elements, sending that to an arpeggiator. See what interesting things are in Mass Effects. something I'm thinking about now is that I do kind of like that the first pre-chorus and chorus are fairly stripped down and not a lot going on. So you're really hearing the chords and the melody and the stuff without too much flash, at least the first time. But then the second time could be more. Okay, well, now I'm sort of changing my mind a little. What if later on there was a sort of bridge section that's just the pre-chorus with everything kind of stripped out? Oops. So something I was messing with there is that when there's 4 notes in the arpeggiator, it rhythms differently than when there's 3 notes, and there's certain times where the 4 notes was sounding neat and other times where it was sounding like too much. So that was pulling out notes so that the rhythm pattern changed, fixing that. So I am going to have to go back through verses and see what needs to be added and changed and everything. I don't want to do too much anywhere yet because one of their comments was that they liked that I wasn't piling too much on, making things too crowded. I was leaving room for them to write and sing. So I probably should not do too much until vocals are in there and I can see what space is left. But I do still want to figure out escalation, de-escalation, things like that. just sit with this a while and listen to it over the next couple days and see if anything jumps out as a good direction to go in. Well, in that case, I guess that's it for today. Come back later, I guess.